All right, so today's session, as you know, is on GT04, RFI site instructions and reporting. So we're going to look at the RFIs, site instructions, Fieldwire reporting, any Q&A, and some of the training resources. So by the end of the session, you'll have a better understanding of how to create and manage RFIs, site instructions in Gate 3, and how these documents can be also uploaded onto Fieldwire. Okay, so a request for information can be initiated by any project participant and is customarily directed to the project manager, who we call the RFI reviewer, who then either responds to the RFI if possible, or requests a response from the primary consultant, who is called the primary reviewer in Gate 3. And in some cases, input may be solicited from other consultants, which should be like your M&E consultant, which we call secondary reviewer. So here is the document flow for the RFI. So we're going to go through these steps. So we're going to go through creating an RFI, new RFI, submitting it to the RFI reviewer, the Elliston internal reviewer. We will be requesting an answer from the primary reviewer, the primary consultant or architect. We will be responding back. We will not be going to secondary reviewer. The process is the same, and it will just it take a little longer to go through. So the idea is the same, and then we're going to respond back to the RFI reviewer, and then we will issue that response for final distribution. Okay, we're going to go into the settings, the RFI settings, because there are settings there that do get configured at a project startup. So we'll go into that. Let me go into Gate 3. Now, some of you, if you are using RFIs currently, you may have noticed that there is RFI and then RFI new. Has anyone noticed that? You can type in the chat, unmute yourselves if you have. Okay, no problems. You have? Okay. Have you used it at all?
No, I just noticed it. Kind of just browsing through.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so really all this is at this point in time is just the RFI view. So I'll go into the old user interface for the RFI view, which is this one here. So this has always been our RFI view. Now there is a new one, but I'll just go through this one quickly because you can still use this one. So this view has a lot of information that you can view at one time. You can see here the RFI number. This is a Gate 3 generated reference number, the subject of the RFI, the initiator number, if there is one, who was submitted by the reviewer, the status of that RFI, what type of information that you can view at one time. You can see here the RFI number. This is a Gate 3 generated reference number, the subject of the RFI, the initiator number, if there is one, who was submitted by the reviewer, the status of that RFI, what type RFI is it. Just scroll here to the bottom so I can scroll over. And you can see a lot more columns. You can also, under the actions column, you can click on this hyperlink. It will open up the RFI. You can also use these filtered text boxes, to do a search, narrow your search, sorry. So let's put review. And then if you wanted to clear the filter, there's a little link here. You can just click on that. Now, there are other views within the RFI. So right now we're in all RFIs. So this lists all RFIs on the project. Or you can view RFIs by category, right? So whatever that category, architectural, electrical, mechanical, you can sort it that way in this view. Or RFIs by stage. So if you know what stage it's at, is it with the internal Elliston reviewer? Is it with the consultant? Is it cancel, close, draft? So you could do a search this way. You can go into these different views. I'm going to go back to the main home screen and come over to the new RFI view. Just give it a second. When you first go into the RFI new, you may get a pop-up letting you know that it's new. So I'm not sure why it's not loading. Oh, I do understand. I do know. Let me go into the live environment. Let's go in here. So this is what it looks like. Just close that. More space here. So it's a little more intuitive, interactive, and it has more information in this view, right? So now you have, this is current assigned. Let me just open that. Current assignee. who it's currently with. So not only does it tell you what review, who it's with, reviewer, primary reviewer, it also tells you who that reviewer is and the company that they're with, okay? The priority is displayed here. It's now color coded. We'll get into that when we go into the settings. So you'll notice that if it's set in the settings, so low would be the highest number of days, right? It's not high priority. So maybe it can have 7-10 days to respond. It's considered low. It will be green. Anything that has the lowest number of days, right, would be considered highest priority for response dates. So these are tagged in red, and then the in-betweens would be in orange, okay? In this view, you can click in these inline filters in some of them here. So for example, due date, if you click here, and maybe you just want to look for all overdue ones, you can do that. Okay, if this one is days in review, if you click in this inline filter, you can select equals, less than, more, and then type in whatever it is that number of days. Okay, so it allows you to do that as where the old one did not. You can also filter if you just want to see the ones that are in Ellis Don's Port. So here it says 8. So if I clicked on this, I can see the RFIs here. Or maybe I just want to see what's with the primary reviewer, okay? Or I can group by status, right? So then it groups it by status. So I can see there's 1 under primary review, 8 under Ellis Don review, etc. Or I can group by priority. So it allows you to do that as well. Let me just show you here on the right-hand side, there are table preferences. So right now, these are the table columns that are appearing here in my view. So I have them all appearing. You can uncheck if you don't need them all, right? So it allows for more space on the screen as well. And another thing I want to mention is here at the top on the right side here, it says hide status tiles, hide grouping bar. And currently it's set to off. So this is talking about these status tiles and this grouping bar. So if you want more space in this view, you can toggle this to hide. One thing I do want to mention to be aware of is I'm gonna click on that. And let's say that you have filters applied on the grouping bar and the status tiles, and then you hide it. Those filters are still going to be set. And maybe you're looking for something, you just can't find it. You can't understand why. So just please, before you decide to hide these, make sure you don't have these filters applied. I hope that makes sense. There's also a tutorial here. So let me click on that. So if you can see there's a tutorial. If I click on one of these status tiles as an example, gives you a definition or explanation as to what that is. Alternatively, you can turn on the interactive tutorial. So anytime that you do hover over something, it will automatically appear. But if you don't want that, the default is set to off, but you can turn that off and you can always just come in here and click on one of these. Okay, any questions on that?
No.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the RFI settings and we're going to look at these different settings. So the priority, category type, design disciplines, and then RFI reviewers must be defined to start using the RFI module, and it can be adjusted throughout the project lifecycle. So to access these settings, this should already be set up. It's not something that you would have to go into to set up. It should already be configured. But when it comes to reviewers of the RFI, Ellis Don reviewers, even primary reviewers, but mainly internal reviewers, you may have to go in there sometime if you're working with RFIs. So to access the settings, you can't access it from the new Gate3 user interface. You would have to go into the old RFI. So I have it open currently. And then from here, you're going to click Start and Administration Settings. And right here, we're going to look for the RFI settings. Open. All right, so priority. So you can see here, here's the different priorities. So I have it set. This gets set up with the project team and our ETS consultants. I sit down with the project teams and help them configure these settings. So here I've chosen to have high priority as 1 for the number of days to respond, and low priority 10 and medium 3. I'm just going to click edit here. And one thing to be aware of is you will know that you're in edit mode when the banners throughout Gate3 change color. So when they look like this green light color, you are in edit mode. We click cancel. It's blue, you're not in edit mode, or if you are in edit mode and it's still blue, it just means you cannot edit that section. So if you wanted to add another RFI priority, you would come here, click edit, and then add RFI priority. And then you would put, whatever RFI priority you want to put. You could put another medium if you wanted to and set it to 7 days as an example. And then here you would select if you want it to be, business days or not. So calendar days or days excluding Saturday and Sunday. And then all this means is typically under level, you will see overall or project. This just means that this was set up at the project level. It wasn't pushed or pulled in from the overall level. I'm just going to cancel this one. You can also edit them. So I click edit here. Maybe I want to change this to 2 days instead of 1 and click apply. And then you would save it. But we're going to go through the other ones. So here we have category. So breaking out the category by discipline. So this and every RFI category has to have a prefix, as you can see I have here. And this determines the prefix and numbering of the RFI, right? So the RFI number. So for example, if there's an architectural RFI, it would be ARC or ARCH -1. That was your first one on the project -2. Etc. Sequential. So this is, you would add the categories of your RFI and the prefix. And to do that, again, you'll have this button here, add RFI category, prefix, and then you would click apply. Okay, so you can create different RFI types based on the needs of your project. So I've only got 2 set up here, but again, you can add additional RFI types. And this is just setting up those different disciplines in here. And if you needed to add more, you would click add document discipline and then add that other discipline. This is what really needs to be brought to your attention. So this is RFI reviewers. So I can spend a little time in here. So as you can see here, I have 3 names listed here. You can have the same person, one person listed multiple times in here for different RFI categories. So you can see here that I have Donna here for linked to RFI category called request for information and linked to RFI category architectural. Okay. I also have Barbara set here for request for information. So just remember that RFI categories are linked to RFI reviewers. So depending on what category you select when you're creating that RFI, that's automatically going to be linked to an RFI reviewer that has been configured in here in the settings. Oh, in addition to that, you can see here that I have some are set as the default. What this means is, so you can see here, Donna Project Manager is the default for request for information, but I also have Barbara linked to the request for information RFI category, but Barbara is not default. So what this means is when an RFI is created with that request for information category, automatically by default, it will pull in Donna Project Manager as the RFI reviewer, the Elliston internal reviewer. However, if Donna is away, somebody has to review that RFI. So in order to allow that process or that flow to continue, you should have a backup in here. So what happens is Barbara can go in, change the RFI reviewer to herself and be able to review it because she is linked to this category. And I hope that makes sense. I'm just going to remove. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log out and I'm going to sign in as Donna. Does anyone have any questions? I'm now signed in as Donna Project Manager. Settings. So let's go back to where we were. Click edit. And I'm going to add myself. And I'm going to link the architectural category to myself. And I'm going to make myself the default for this category. Okay. And apply. All right. So this is where you set up or have set up your internal Elliston RFI reviewers. This here, primary reviewer list, this is where you would add your primary reviewers, consultants, or architects. And then you can list your secondary reviewers if you have any, those secondary consultants. Okay. Now let me go back to the RFI. So from the new view to create an RFI, you would just create new. And from the old RFI, you would come over here and create new. It will take you to the exact same place. So I'm going to click RFI. Okay, and this is what the document looks like. Before I continue, again, I want to point out the help link. Okay, this is available in every single module. So I'm just going to click on it just to show you where you can find the help pages for RFIs right here. So you can expand this. So you can see there's create an RFI, change RFI reviewer, request an answer, respond to an RFI. Lots of information, user guides here. So right now we're going to create an RFI, and this gives you step-by-step instructions on how to create that RFI. Okay, and we also have it in video format. Here is the workflow. Let's go back. All right, so anything with an asterisk is a required field. You can see here it's asking for priority, and this was from the settings, additional reference number, initiated by. So you can create new in the RFI module. There's also another way of creating an RFI, and that is through your project inbox. And most likely you're going to get requests sent to your project inbox. So to access your project inbox, you would click Start, Document Management, Communications. If you're in the new user interface, you want to go directly to your inbox. Here, it would be Project Administration Correspondence. Okay, I'm just going to go into my sent, and I'm just going to select something here. So let's say, okay, I got this email from a sub requesting clarification on some support beams. I can check this and I can click on, you have to open it first. Okay, so I can see here that it's got an attachment, it's got a message, do we require fixed beam or cantilever beam for the balconies, and any attachments that were sent will be included. So I'll come over to more actions, create document, and RFI. It's going to open up the same document. The only difference is going to populate it with some information. So you can see it pulled in the subject, whatever was in the body of the email. You can massage this, change this. So let me just remove this. And if there were any attachments, it will be included. So if you receive an email in your project inbox, you can create an RFI right from within your inbox. It's a lot easier, because it just automatically pulls in a lot of the information attachments for you. And then you just come back in here and complete the rest of the document. So priority, I'll put high priority. If you have any additional reference numbers, consultant numbers, you can include them here. Okay? It's optional. They have that section. And then you have initiated by. You can see here that it says initiated by Donna Project Manager. And that's because I am logged in as Donna Project Manager. However, I'm not the one that actually initiated this RFI. It was someone else. It was a sub. So what you can do is you can click on change here and change it to who actually initiated this RFI. And again, if you get stuck here, you can always go to the help. It will explain it. So I'm going to click change. I'll just do Port Foundations. So it's changed it to Port Foundations. Brown and Fester Mechanical. Okay, and then you want to select the initiated date. So when was this actually initiated by Brown and Fester Mechanical? Maybe it was yesterday. And now I'm selecting the category. Now remember, the category is linked to the RFI reviewer, right? So let me just go back into the settings very quickly. RFI reviewer. I have to save this. I didn't save this. All right, so the default reviewer and the only reviewer currently in the settings for architectural category is Suzanne. Let's go back. So I'm going to select architectural, and then this has all been configured in the settings, and that's why you see these different types. I'll just select one here. Same with discipline, that was configured in the settings. And then, you can add information to this if you want. You can attach additional files. At this point, we can go ahead and submit if we're ready to do that. If you're not ready to do that, you can always save it as draft. Now I'm going to go ahead and submit. So right now it says draft, and the status should change when I click submit. Okay, so now it says under review. So now we have the Gate3 reference, generated reference number, and this is what I was talking about. Let me just go back in here. RFI category, there's a prefix, right? And this determines the prefix and the numbering of that RFI. So I have ARCH-20, and that's just because I have 20 architectural RFIs in my project. Numbers are sequential. Okay, let's just move on here. So it now has initiated by, there's the subject, the description, the attachment. But right now, typically what I would see, so I'll go ahead and click edit so it changes the banners. What I should see down here is request answer. But I don't see that because I am signed in as Donna Project Manager, and the default reviewer for this RFI category is Suzanne. So it does not allow me to review or request an answer. So let me just come back to this slide. So we've created this new RFI, we've submitted it. So now it's with the reviewer, but because Donna Project Manager is not default, can't do anything. So what I have to do is go into the settings and add myself as a reviewer for architectural category, but I will not be the default reviewer as we already have one. So I can come in here and select Susanna, but I'm already there. I don't see anyone else that has architectural. So what I have to do now is go into the settings, into RFI reviewers, put it in edit mode, add reviewer, and I'm gonna put Donna. So I wanna add Donna because I'm signed in as Donna Project Manager. Select, and select the architectural category, but Donna will not be the default. And then just make sure to always click save. And now I'm going to go back to my RFI and change the reviewer. And now I see Donna linked to this category. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, select and save so that those changes take place. It's reflected. Okay, so now it's been changed. Let's see here for a second. Okay, so I'm going to click edit now and scroll all the way. So now I see that button request answer. It wasn't there before because I wasn't linked to that category to be able to review this document. Okay, so we are here. Now, if I had an answer for Brown and Fester Mechanical, I would just issue that response and close it up for final distribution. But if I don't, I can request, if I don't know the answer, I can request an answer from the primary reviewer, the primary consultant. And that's what we're going to do. So we're here right now and we're going to request an answer. Let's go back. So you would come here, request an answer. Now, going back to if the RFI reviewer had an answer, instead of coming down to the bottom here, the RFI reviewer would come to about the middle of the screen under the section that says final response. They would add the response and issue that response. And then just always remember to click save as well. We will do that a little later. So let's go to request an answer. Okay, so, all right. So I'm going to put here, Tom is the architect, but I'm going to select, something here just to add something. Response due date. So again, this is based on what was configured in the settings for the priority dates, right? So I had high, medium, low, and for the high priority, I had 2 days for the response due date. Today is the 11th. And this is why this is set to the 13th. Okay, so the response due date is July 13th. This here, notify me when a consultant has responded. By default, set to yes, and that's fine. You can leave it as that. Most consultants don't work with us in gate 3. They typically will use just email, but they don't typically go into the system and respond. We respond on their behalf. Okay, now we'll get to that. All right, here you have 2 options, attach files or include all previous attachments. So if I want to attach a file, you just go into my files. Okay, I'll add that. And if you want to include all or any previous attachments, so we had that one attachment that was pulled in from the email when we created that RFI document. If I click this, it will be pulled in. There it is. If you make a mistake, you can just click on the trash bin icon. And then here, select any primary reviewer. So this is my architect primary reviewer. You can also select any project contact. So I'm going to select Tom. And then if you want to add any additional reviewers, you can. And again, you can select any project contact if you want to keep them in the loop. I'm just going to put myself here. And this is when I can go ahead and request an answer from Tom. And just remember to click save. And now it's changed. The status has changed from under primary review to under review. Under review to under primary review. If I scroll to the bottom, you will see here that says request answer by Donna Project Manager, the date and time, due on July 13th, to Tom Architect. Susanna was copied. And then the comment, hi Tom, please see attached drawing specifications, clarification required, and there are the attachments. Okay. going to go back into the communications module and I'm going to click view message archive and just give it a second to load. So any document that gets sent out of gate 3 will reside in your message archive, okay, in your correspondence or communications module. So you can see here that when I requested an answer, I sent it to Tom Architect and copied Suzanne Roche. Now you can open this email, you can see all the attachments. Okay, so if for any reason someone says, hey, I haven't received anything from you, you can always come in here and take a look and see what's been sent out of gate 3. Okay. So coming back here, we've requested the answer. So now we're just waiting to hear back from the primary consultant. So once we do, we have to respond on behalf of the primary reviewer or consultant. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so I'm going to click edit and scroll all the way to the bottom. And you can see here, I could request another answer, but let's say that Tom has responded, phone by email. We have the information. We can then come in here and respond on behalf of Tom. So I'm going to click respond. Okay. And then right here, it says primary response, select on behalf of. So who are we responding on behalf of? In this case, it's Tom. Okay, and then date response provided, maybe the date was yesterday, so you can always change it if you need to. Should have the exact date that you received the response. This is an example. And then you would attach that file if that's the case, or you could just copy and paste everything in here that was said by the primary consultant. So let's go ahead and attach a file, this one here. And just remember when you're adding a response or attaching a file in the RFI module, in the document, make sure you click apply here. So if you click save, it's not going to take this information. You need to click apply first. And now it logs it. So primary response by Donna, request answer by Donna Project Manager, primary response by Donna Project Manager on this date on behalf of Tom Architect. And there is the comment and the attachment. So now I'm going to save this again. And now it's back with Ellis Don. It's under Ellis Don's Ball in Court. So now it's back with the Ellis Don internal RFI reviewer. Now, if you wanted to come back to the main view, say you got out for some reason, you want to come in here and search for that specific RFI. If you know the RFI number, you could enter it. Okay, and there it is. It'll have the dates as well, or you can search for it by the gate 3 generated reference number, and there it is. And right now it tells you it is under review. Okay, so if I were to go into by stage, this view, RFIs by stage, span this under review, type in March 20, should be in here, and there it is. Okay, so we're back in. So now, let's go here. We have responded on behalf of the RFI primary reviewer, and now it's back at this stage. So now we can issue a response and send it out for final distribution. However, if you're going to create a site instruction, you cannot issue that final response just yet. So at this stage, this is when you would create that site instruction. Because once you issue that final response and send it out for distribution, it will have a status of closed. Once the RFI is closed, you can no longer associate it to a site instruction. Okay, so at this point, what you want to do, so let me just show you. So you don't want to have that final response yet. So only if you're going to create a site instruction. So let me just come here. Okay, so site instructions are used to delegate instructions to subcontractors to expand the scope of work, purchase or testing material, or to address defect issues and rework. Site instructions usually point to an issue with the initial agreed upon work. A change order will typically follow, relate to a delay or a holdup with an element of the project that needs rework, or fall outside the scope of the original contract, which in this case calls for additional documentation, and a change order will typically follow. Okay, so what we want to do here is start, and I'm going to click new site instruction, And if you have the architect reference number, you can add it here. There's the site instruction date. So these dates can be changed. They need to be. Category, so architectural. And then this is not a free form field, so you can't just type any email in here or name. You have to click on this to hyperlink. And in this case, it was Brown and Fester. Okay. You know, and same with the carbon copy. Just gonna add my name here as well. Themes, follow, whatever it is, whatever you need to put here, whatever the instruction is, you're going to add it here. And then it gives some project information as to who the site super is and the PM on the job. Any additional comments above and beyond the instructions, you're going to add here, and then you're going to attach any files you need to attach. So just whatever that is. Then you would add it here. And this is where you're going to associate the RFI. Okay. So let's click it and we're going to look for that RFI. Okay, so there it is. So let me just take that up for a second. Only RFIs that are under or have a status of under review will appear here. If it is closed, it will not appear here. So enter, and now we're going to pull that in, and now we've associated. Okay, so RFI to be associated to site instruction has to be under review. A change can be at any state, same with submission, any stage. A design document has to have a status of current. Okay. So there's your site instruction. So we can go ahead and issue that site instruction to Dana. And now we can go back to that RFI, click edit. And this is where we're going to issue that final response. But I'm going to scroll to the bottom first because you can copy the response and just paste it in there. So you'll see a button here right at the bottom, copy to response. So it's going to copy this. So if I scroll back to that final response, it pulled it in. You can add more information here, of course. And then here, add contact to notify. So by default, the person who initiated this RFI will be listed here. You can add additional contacts. So if you did that, you would just, you get this pop-up. As long as they're associated to your project, they will be listed here. If you want to add all reviewers, so by default, there's Tom Architect. And then what you do from this point is you come over to this action at issue response. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, and please confirm the following response to the RFI. Once the response is issued, a notification will be sent to the contacts listed below, and you will no longer be able to modify the response. So just make sure this is what you want to send. If you want to add additional people that you don't see listed here in this pop-up, you have to close this and go back to where we just were and add them from there. Okay, and then any attachments will be included here. So I'm going to go ahead and click issue response. And you can see now it is closed. Okay. So again, if you ever get stuck, it's all here. So that's not the right one. This one, sorry. Second, this one here. So if you, changing RFI reviewer, request an answer, that's all here. How to respond to an RFI, issue final response, create a linked RFI. So I'll show you how to do that next. So once the RFI has gone through the necessary document review process and has a closed status, it can no longer be modified. If the project team requires the question to be reopened or added onto this, the action is possible by creating a linked RFI. Anyone with access to create RFIs will be able to create a linked RFI. This will walk you through it, but I'll quickly go in there. So if you wanted to add onto this or reopen this, you would come into this original RFI and you'll see a button here that says create linked RFI. Click on that. And again, priority level, we'll just put medium. Again, any additional reference numbers, I will leave this. Actually, I'll change this. So let's say it was Brown Investor again. I'll leave that. So that's good. So it pulls in all this information already, but you can change it. And then you can add. Okay, so reopened. And then whatever that, whatever you want to add here. And again, touch files and then submit. And it will start the process all over again. But the difference is these two are linked. So a way to know how these two are linked, let me go back to the main view. And let's refresh. Sorry, it's for the main view. Is there will be another digit, okay, separated by decimal, so 20.1. If there was another linked RFI, it would be 20.2, 20.3, so on and so forth. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Let's just go into this one here. Into the new view. Okay, so it's currently working for my training. That's fine. I was just going to look it up. It should pull up in the live environment. It will pull up. Doesn't matter which view you go into. That's what I want to show you. But other than that, I'm just going to quickly come in here. Oh, one thing I do want to mention before I forget has to do with FieldWire. So as it says here, while FieldWire design review comments can sometimes turn into an RFI, all RFIs, site instructions, change orders, workflows, and legal records must be completed in Gate 3. If an electronic version of the supporting document can be uploaded and associated with the corresponding, it can then be uploaded with the corresponding drawings in FieldWire. But it has to be created and done in Gate 3 and then can be uploaded to FieldWire. And then I've attached a FieldWire best practice guide as well for those views in FieldWire. Okay. Questions?
No.
Okay. Last but not least, most of you probably know this already. There is a training calendar on the Learning Hub, not just for Gate 3, but for, health and safety, compliance training, Knowledge Hub, ton of information. I'm sure most of you are aware of it. There's a little link there that takes you to Learning Hub, and you can register for courses and webinars as well. So I'll probably come in here just quickly. And you scroll down, this would be your homepage. Any compliance training would be listed under my requirements. Anything you've started but haven't completed would be under continue learning. Any upcoming live events will be listed here. In addition to that, you can look up events from here. If you want to take a project role course, there's tech training. These are all the 4 different project roles. And then if you can also register for a webinar within here, or if you don't have time to attend all of them, we do have the recorded webinars as well. Okay. We also have a Gate 3 training environment. So to access that, just quickly, you would come over to the portal under digital and data, Gate 3, training and user guides. And right here, we have recorded webinars as well. And there is the practice environment. So you can log in. Here's the link to the training environment. You would log in with any of these credentials. And we do recommend using this 70,000 Eastern Fairmont project. And again, you know where the Gate 3 help is. And that is it. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.